Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, wide awake, heart beating a little faster, and no matter how much you toss or turn, you just can't drift back to sleep? You check your phone, it's 2 a.m., and you're wondering, why does this keep happening? You were tired when you went to bed, but now your brain feels wired. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people struggle with this every night, and what's crazy is, it's not just about sleep. It's about your body being stuck in a stress loop. And the real villain here is cortisol, your stress hormone. But here's where it gets interesting. There's one simple tablespoon trick that can literally lower cortisol fast, calm your nervous system, and help you fall back asleep naturally. No pills, no fancy gadgets, just pure physiology and the right nutrients at the right time. Let me explain what's really happening when you wake up in the middle of the night. Around 2 to 3 a.m., your blood sugar naturally dips. That's normal. But if your blood sugar drops too low, your body freaks out. It sees that as a threat. So, to protect you, it releases cortisol and adrenaline. Those are your fight or flight hormones. They tell your liver to dump stored glucose back into the bloodstream so your brain has fuel. But the problem is, those same hormones also wake you up. They make your mind start racing. They make your heart rate rise just enough that you can't relax again. And the longer you lie there, the more frustrated you get, which adds even more cortisol to the mix. How do we fix that? How do we stop cortisol from spiking and help your body feel safe enough to fall asleep again? The answer lies in stabilizing your blood sugar and sending the right signal to your nervous system that it's okay to rest. And that's where this 1 tablespoon trick comes in. This isn't some magic potion. It's simple biochemistry. It's something that literally feeds your brain, calms your body, and resets your stress response within minutes. That tablespoon, it's raw honey. Just 1 tablespoon of raw honey before bed, or even if you wake up at night, can make a huge difference. Let's break down why. Raw honey is a natural source of glucose and fructose, but unlike processed sugar, it's absorbed slowly. When you take it before bed, it gives your brain a steady drip of fuel through the night. That prevents your blood sugar from dropping too low, which means your body doesn't have to trigger cortisol to fix it. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, taking that same tablespoon tells your body, hey, we've got fuel, we're safe, you can relax now. There's actually a biochemical reason why this works so well. When glucose levels are stable, your liver can store enough glycogen to keep feeding your brain while you sleep. When glycogen runs out, cortisol steps in to mobilize energy. So by giving your body a small amount of natural glucose, you're removing the need for cortisol to rise. Less cortisol means calmer nerves, slower heart rate, and an easier time falling back into deep, restorative sleep. You might be thinking, wait, sugar before bed, won't that keep me awake? Good question, and normally, that's true for processed sugars or big carb, heavy meals. But honey is different because it contains both glucose and fructose in a natural balance. It doesn't cause a sharp spike and crash. It actually supports a slow release of energy that helps maintain stable blood sugar. Plus, honey contains trace minerals like magnesium and potassium that help relax your muscles and support your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. If you really want to amplify the effect, There's one small tweak that makes it even more powerful. Mix that 1 tablespoon of raw honey with a pinch of high-quality sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Why? Because sodium helps regulate cortisol levels too. When your cortisol is high, your body wastes sodium through the urine. That's one reason you might wake up to pee at night or feel dehydrated. Adding a tiny bit of salt helps restore that balance. It also helps your adrenal glands calm down because those glands are responsible for producing cortisol and aldosterone, 2 hormones that work hand in hand to manage stress and fluid balance. Here's how you do it. If you're someone who constantly wakes up around 2 or 3 a.m., start by taking a tablespoon of raw honey mixed with a tiny pinch of salt before bed. Stir it into a bit of warm water or just eat it straight. It's that simple. If you still wake up during the night, take another small spoonful. Within 10 to 15 minutes, most people feel their body relax, their mind quiet down, and that heavy, sleepy feeling returns naturally. But this trick works even better when you support your body through the day. See, waking up at night is a symptom of an underlying imbalance, too much stress, too much caffeine, irregular meals, or not enough minerals. So, if you really want to reset your cortisol rhythm, you've got to start with your daytime habits. Cortisol should be high in the morning. That's what wakes you up, gives you focus and energy. And it should gradually fall through the day, hitting its lowest point at night so you can sleep deeply. But most people today have that pattern flipped. They're tired in the morning and wired at night. Why? Because of late night scrolling, caffeine afternoon, skipping meals, and chronic stress that never shuts off. The body never gets the signal that it's safe. One of the best ways to fix that is with light exposure. Get natural sunlight on your eyes first thing in the morning. That tells your brain to release cortisol early in the day where it belongs. Then, as evening comes, dim your lights and avoid bright blue light. That helps melatonin rise naturally. When cortisol and melatonin have their proper rhythm, your sleep becomes deeper and more stable. Combine that with balanced nutrition and that 1 tablespoon trick, and your nights start transforming. Now, let's talk about what happens inside your body when you do wake up. Around 2 or 3 a.m., if your body's in a stressed state, cortisol surges. That also raises blood pressure slightly, increases alertness, and even raises body temperature, all things that make sleep harder. But if you feed your body just enough glucose and minerals, you flip the switch from fight or flight back to rest and digest. Your vagus nerve activates, your pulse slows down, and you start producing more GABA, a neurotransmitter that calms the brain. Honey indirectly supports this by providing the energy needed for GABA synthesis. And that's not something most people realize. Your brain chemistry depends heavily on stable energy supply. Another hidden benefit of raw honey at night is its effect on liver detox. The liver is most active during the night. Between 1 and 3 a.m., according to traditional Chinese medicine, that's when it processes toxins and regulates glucose balance. Giving it that small amount of fuel actually helps it perform those functions more efficiently. When your liver runs out of glycogen, it can't detox properly, and that can also cause restless sleep or vivid, stressful dreams. If you're someone who experiences that tired but wired feeling, like your body is exhausted but your brain won't turn off, it's a sign of adrenal fatigue or dysregulated cortisol. Honey with salt is one of the simplest tools to retrain that rhythm. You're not forcing your body to sleep. You're helping it feel safe enough to do so on its own. And that's the key difference. Now, I know there are people who prefer low carb or even ketogenic diets, and they worry that taking honey at night might kick them out of fat burning mode. But here's the thing. We're talking about 1 tablespoon. That's around 17 grams of natural carbs. That's not enough to derail fat burning in a healthy metabolism. In fact, if poor sleep is elevating your cortisol, you're actually storing more fat anyway, especially around your belly. Chronically elevated cortisol tells your body to hold onto fat and burn muscle for energy. So fixing your sleep can actually improve fat loss, muscle recovery, and hormone balance far more effectively than staying strictly carb-free at all times. If you've been struggling with waking up every night at the same time, try tracking your sleep pattern. When you add this tablespoon trick, you'll notice those 2 or 3 a.m. wake up start fading. You'll start waking up naturally closer to morning, feeling more refreshed. That's because your cortisol curve is finally balanced again. You can even take this a step further by combining that honey with adaptogenic herbs during the day. Things like ashwagandha, rhodiola, or holy basil. Those herbs help lower cortisol during stressful moments, which in turn makes it easier to keep your nighttime levels low. Pair that with magnesium before bed, and you're stacking the deck in your favor. Magnesium helps muscles relax, calms the nervous system, and improves deep sleep stages. Speaking of deep sleep, most people underestimate how critical that phase is. During deep sleep, your brain literally flushes out waste through something called the glymphatic system. It's like a car wash for your neurons. It's also when your body releases the most growth hormone, which repairs muscles, tissues, and even your skin. But cortisol disrupts all of that. When cortisol is high at night, your body can't enter deep sleep. So even if you sleep 8 hours, you still wake up feeling unrefreshed. Lowering cortisol isn't just about falling asleep. It's about letting your body actually heal during sleep. Now, let's touch on caffeine because this one's huge. If you're constantly waking up at night, check how late you're consuming caffeine. Even if you think it's worn off, caffeine can linger in your system for 8 to 10 hours. That means your afternoon coffee might still be keeping your adrenal glands active at midnight. Try cutting caffeine after 12 p.m. for a week and see how your sleep changes. Combine that with your evening honey salt combo and you'll probably be shocked by the difference. Let's talk about timing. The best time to take that tablespoon of raw honey is 15 to 30 minutes before bed. If you're someone who doesn't like sweets before bed, you can mix it in warm chamomile tea or golden milk. Both combinations enhance the relaxing effect. Chamomile contains apigenin, which binds to the same receptors in your brain as sleep medications, but naturally. Golden milk, made with turmeric, adds anti-inflammatory support that also helps the body wind down. Some people like to use apple cider vinegar with honey as well, especially if digestion issues wake them up at night. A teaspoon of apple cider vinegar mixed with your honey and warm water can support healthy stomach acid levels and prevent reflux, which often disrupts sleep unknowingly. And here's another overlooked factor: hydration. If you're dehydrated, your body releases more cortisol. That's why waking up thirsty is common among people with nighttime cortisol spikes. Make sure you're drinking enough water during the day, but not so much right before bed that it wakes you up to use the bathroom. That balance matters. Your bedroom environment matters too. If your room is too warm, cortisol stays higher. A cooler room around 65 to 68 degrees FF helps signal your body that it's time to rest. And avoid bright UV lights right before bed. Those suppress melatonin. Instead, switch to warm amber lights or candles to ease your body into sleep mode. But even with perfect sleep hygiene, if your cortisol rhythm is off, you'll still wake up. That's why this 1 tablespoon trick is so powerful. It's the missing piece for so many people. It's not about adding more supplements or tracking more data. It's about understanding the natural feedback loop between your brain, your liver, and your adrenal glands. When those systems are in sync, sleep becomes effortless again. Let's get real for a second. The reason so many people are waking up at night today isn't just biology, it's lifestyle overload. Constant notifications, endless deadlines, emotional stress, processed food, it all adds up. Your body doesn't distinguish between a work email and a wild animal chase. Stress is stress. And when you never give it a chance to reset, cortisol never drops. That's why even a small step like this can feel miraculous. It gives your body the signal it's been craving: safety. You'll know it's working when you start noticing that your mind doesn't race as much at night. You'll drift off faster after waking up. You'll start having dreams again, which is a sign you're entering REM sleep. You'll wake up feeling more rested, calmer, and even hungrier for real food instead of craving sugar or caffeine. That's your cortisol finally balancing. If you want to supercharge the effect, build a simple nighttime routine around it. Try turning off screens 30 minutes before bed, dim your lights, stretch lightly, or do some deep breathing. Then take your tablespoon of honey with salt, sip a bit of water, and just let your body settle. That combination tells your nervous system everything it needs to know. It's time to rest. I've seen countless people fix years of poor sleep just by understanding this one principle. Your body doesn't need to be forced to sleep. It just needs to feel safe enough to do so. That's what lowering cortisol does. That's what this 1 tablespoon of raw honey helps achieve. It's not a gimmick. It's a biochemical reset button for your stress response. The next time you wake up in the middle of the night, instead of fighting it, pause. Don't reach for your phone. Don't start thinking about tomorrow. Just go to the kitchen, take that spoonful of honey with a pinch of salt, and give your body what it's asking for: fuel and reassurance. Within minutes, you'll feel your system shifting gears. Your shoulders relax, your breath slows, and before you know it, you're back asleep. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll notice something else. You feel more stable throughout the day. That's because balanced nighttime cortisol leads to better daytime energy, mood, and focus. Your body starts producing cortisol where it should. In the morning, your metabolism improves, your cravings go down, and your workouts feel stronger because your recovery finally catches up. It's amazing how one small change can ripple through your whole system. Just 1 tablespoon of something natural, something your body understands, can reset years of disrupted sleep and stress cycles. That's the power of working with your body instead of against it. If you're tired of being tired, if you're done waking up at 3 a.m. wondering what's wrong, give this a shot tonight. 1 tablespoon of raw honey, a tiny pinch of salt, maybe mixed in warm water. Try it for 3 nights straight. Pay attention to how your body feels, how your mornings feel. The results often speak for themselves. Sleep isn't just rest, it's your body's most powerful healing state. And the key to unlocking it is not more pills or complex routines, it's balance. When cortisol drops, your body heals. When your body heals, your mind follows. That's when you start waking up not just rested, but truly restored. And now that we've talked about how quality sleep strengthens adrenal resilience, there's another piece of the puzzle that ties it all together: the power of calming rituals. You see, your body doesn't just flip a switch from stress mode to rest mode. It needs signals, cues, gentle reminders that it's safe to slow down. And that's where simple habits like journaling, stretching, or even mindful breathing before bed can change everything. These rituals might seem small, but they're like whispers to your nervous system, telling cortisol it's time to taper off naturally. Think about it this way: all day long your brain is in a go mode. You're responding to messages, solving problems, making decisions, processing information. Cortisol is doing its job, keeping you alert and focused. But when the evening comes, your body needs a signal to transition out of that state. Most people don't give their body that signal. They go straight from high stimulation, screens, lights, notifications, to bed, and then wonder why their mind won't quiet down. That's because cortisol is still elevated. Your body doesn't know the workday ended. But when you add even a few minutes of a calming ritual, it acts like a bridge between your active day and your restorative night. Journaling is one of the most powerful ways to do this. When you sit down and write about your thoughts, you're literally offloading mental clutter from your brain onto paper. You're taking the chaos inside your mind and giving it a home outside your body. That act of writing signals your brain that it no longer needs to hold on to those thoughts. It reduces mental tension, which immediately lowers cortisol. There's science behind this too. Expressive writing has been shown to reduce stress hormone levels, calm the amygdala, the part of your brain that triggers fear and anxiety, and improve overall sleep quality. It's not about writing something perfect. It's about releasing. It's about creating space for peace to enter. You don't even need to spend a long time doing it. Just 3 to 5 minutes of writing before bed can make a big difference. Try writing down 3 things that went well during your day, or something you're grateful for. Gratitude journaling, in particular, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which slows down heart rate, relaxes muscles, and signals your body that it's safe. Remember, safety is the opposite of stress. When your body feels safe, cortisol begins to taper off naturally. That's when your brain starts releasing serotonin, which then converts to melatonin, helping you drift into deeper sleep. Stretching is another underrated ritual that has an almost immediate impact on cortisol. Your muscles hold on to stress throughout the day, especially your neck, shoulders, hips, and lower back. When those areas stay tense, your body interprets it as a form of physical stress. Gentle stretching, especially slow movements with deep breathing, tells your body the danger has passed. It's like sending a message straight to your adrenal glands. You can relax now. When you combine stretching with breath, it's even more powerful. The slow inhalation and exhalation trigger your vagus nerve, which controls your rest and digest response. The moment your vagus nerve is activated, cortisol levels start dropping. You don't need a long yoga session to get this effect. Just 5 to 10 minutes of slow, mindful stretching in a dimly lit room can be enough. Focus on areas where you feel tight. Move slowly, breathe deeply, and don't force anything. The goal isn't to work out, it's to unwind. And as your muscles release tension, your mind follows. You'll feel your heartbeat slow down, your thoughts quiet, and that heavy calm start to wash over you. That's your nervous system resetting itself in real time. There's also something deeply grounding about rituals that involve physical touch or connection with the body. For example, self-massage or using a foam roller before bed can have the same cortisol lowering effect. When you apply gentle pressure to your muscles, you stimulate receptors that send calming signals to the brain. Your body begins to produce more oxytocin, the bonding and relaxation hormone, which directly counteracts cortisol. The two hormones are opposites in many ways. When oxytocin rises, cortisol drops. That's why things like hugs, massages, and even petting your dog can instantly make you feel calm and safe. Calming rituals also work because they create predictability. Your brain loves patterns. When you repeat the same soothing actions every night, your brain starts associating those actions with relaxation. Over time, just starting your ritual triggers your body to prepare for sleep. It becomes a cue, a conditioned response. You might start journaling, and your body already begins to slow down its heart rate. Your mind starts to let go. That's the beauty of routine. It teaches your body when to be alert and when to unwind without you having to force it. Now, another ritual that can work wonders is deep, rhythmic breathing. It's one of the simplest, fastest ways to signal cortisol to decrease. When your breathing is shallow and rapid, your body assumes you're in danger. When it's deep, slow, and steady, it tells your nervous system that you're safe. Try inhaling through your nose for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6 or 8. That longer exhale is key. It's what activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Within just a few minutes, your cortisol starts to drop, your heart rate slows, and your mind starts to quiet down. Some people like to combine breathing with visualization. Imagine each exhale releasing stress, tension, or energy you don't need anymore. This isn't just imagination. Your body actually responds to these mental images. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's real. So when you visualize releasing stress, your physiology follows. That's how powerful your mind-body connection is. And here's something fascinating. These rituals don't just lower cortisol in the moment. Over time, they retrain your brain to regulate cortisol better, even when life gets stressful. That's because calming rituals strengthen the connection between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. The prefrontal cortex is the rational, calm part of your brain. The amygdala is the reactive, emotional one. When you practice calming rituals regularly, you're basically teaching your brain how to pause before reacting. You respond to stress instead of being controlled by it. That's long-term cortisol control. Even something as simple as making a cup of herbal tea can become a calming ritual if you do it mindfully. The act of boiling water, smelling the aroma, and slowly sipping it tells your senses that it's time to unwind. Chamomile, lemon balm, and passion flower are particularly helpful because they contain compounds that interact with GABA receptors in your brain, promoting relaxation. You can combine that with your raw honey trick to stabilize blood sugar and help cortisol taper off even more gently. Another calming ritual that people underestimate is spending a few minutes in silence or low light. In our modern world, silence feels uncomfortable because we're always surrounded by noise. But silence is one of the fastest ways to reset your nervous system. When you sit quietly in a darkened room, your brain waves naturally shift from beta, the alert, problem-solving state, to alpha and theta, which are states of relaxation and creativity. That transition reduces cortisol automatically. It's like pressing the reset button on your stress response. Stretching, journaling, breathing, silence. They all share one thing in common. They bring you into the present moment. Stress lives in the past and the future. It's about what happened or what might happen. The present moment is where cortisol loses its grip. When you're fully here, grounded in your body, feeling your breath, or writing your thoughts, your body stops releasing stress hormones. It realizes there's no threat right now. That's the real mechanism behind these rituals. They pull you out of the mental loop of worry and into a state of presence. Some people like to add a bit of gratitude or intention setting to their nighttime ritual. For example, after journaling, write one sentence about how you want to feel tomorrow: calm, focused, grateful, productive. This programs your subconscious mind overnight. It might sound simple, but your subconscious processes these cues while you sleep, influencing how you wake up and how your cortisol pattern flows the next day. Even gentle music can play a role here. Soft instrumental sounds, nature noises, or binaural beats can synchronize your brain waves with calm frequencies. That entrainment effect lowers cortisol by encouraging your brain to enter the same relaxed state it experiences during meditation. But the key is consistency. Whatever ritual you choose, do it nightly. The repetition is what trains your body to release cortisol on cue. Let's talk about another ritual that often gets overlooked: stretching in bed. Sometimes the best time to stretch isn't before bed, but after you've already laid down. Gentle movements like pulling your knees to your chest, rolling your shoulders, or slowly turning your head side to side can calm the nervous system right before you drift off. It's not about flexibility, it's about signaling safety. When your body feels physically comfortable, your adrenals relax. That's when cortisol drops naturally without any external intervention. And it's not just about the body or the mind. It's about both working together. When you combine physical release with emotional release, like stretching while thinking of something you're grateful for or writing while taking slow breaths, the effect multiplies. You're activating both pathways of relaxation, the physical and the mental. That's why rituals that involve both body and mind are the most powerful cortisol regulators. Over time, these calming rituals rewire your sleep-wake rhythm completely. You'll notice you start feeling sleepy at the same time every night because your cortisol is tapering off predictably. You'll wake up more refreshed because your cortisol rises naturally in the morning instead of spiking too early at night. That's when your body finally finds balance. Cortisol where it should be, melatonin where it should be, everything working in sync. What's really interesting is that people who start adding these rituals often report emotional benefits too. They feel calmer, more patient, less reactive. They handle stress with more ease. That's because cortisol isn't just a sleep hormone. It affects your mood, your focus, your immune system, even how kind or compassionate you feel. When it's balanced, everything else in life feels smoother. You don't just sleep better, you live better. You don't need to overcomplicate it. The best rituals are simple, repeatable, and personal. Maybe for you, it's journaling by candlelight. Maybe it's gentle stretching with soft music. Maybe it's sitting quietly with a warm drink and your thoughts. The form doesn't matter. The intention does. The goal is to tell your body, you can relax now. When that message sinks in, cortisol begins its descent naturally, setting the stage for the kind of sleep that heals, restores, and rebuilds. And that's what this whole process is about, giving your body permission to let go. When you take those few minutes at the end of your day to slow down, breathe, stretch, write, or simply be still, you're teaching your system that the world is safe enough to rest. That's when the magic happens. Cortisol fades, melatonin rises, and your body starts doing what it was designed to do all along, repair itself. And that brings me to something most people don't realize. When you finally start sleeping deeply, your body doesn't just rest, it rebuilds its resilience. Quality sleep is like strength training for your adrenal glands. Every night you sleep deeply, your adrenals get a chance to recover, recharge, and recalibrate how they respond to stress. See, when your sleep is poor, your adrenals are constantly being pushed to produce more cortisol just to keep you functional through the day. But when you sleep well, cortisol naturally resets to a healthy baseline. That means you wake up with more steady energy, you handle stress better, and your mood becomes more balanced without needing to rely on caffeine or willpower. Your adrenal glands are small but powerful. They sit right on top of your kidneys, and they're responsible for producing cortisol, adrenaline, and other hormones that regulate everything from your blood pressure to your metabolism. They're like the body's built-in stress response system when life hits you with pressure, deadlines, or emotional chaos. Your adrenals are the first responders. They release cortisol to keep you alert and ready. But when they're constantly activated, when you're running on little sleep, too much caffeine, or endless mental stress, they start to fatigue. That's when you get that wired but tired feeling. You feel exhausted, but your body can't calm down. That's the point where sleep becomes broken, and even when you do sleep, it's not restorative. When you start improving your sleep quality, you're not just fixing rest, you're literally retraining your adrenal glands to chill. During deep sleep, especially slow, wave sleep, cortisol production drops to its lowest point. That's the time your adrenals get to rest. The next morning, they're recharged enough to release cortisol in the right way, slowly, gradually, giving you that calm alertness that feels like natural energy instead of nervous tension. Over time, as this cycle repeats, your baseline cortisol lowers, you stop waking up with anxiety, you stop crashing mid-afternoon, your energy feels more grounded, more consistent, and you can actually feel your stress threshold increase. It's like this. Think of your adrenals like a muscle. If you constantly strain it without recovery, it weakens. But if you give it consistent recovery through deep, high-quality sleep, it becomes stronger and more adaptable. The stronger your adrenals, the less reactive your cortisol response. You can handle stress without it flooding your system. That's what people mean when they talk about adrenal resilience. It's not about eliminating stress. It's about training your body to bounce back faster and stay balanced, no matter what life throws at you. Now let's go a little deeper into what happens hormonally when sleep improves. Your body works in rhythms. Cortisol and melatonin are opposites. When cortisol goes down, melatonin rises. When you get quality sleep, melatonin peaks properly at night, which not only promotes better rest, but also helps your body repair oxidative stress and inflammation. Melatonin is a powerful antioxidant. It protects your mitochondria, the little energy factories inside every cell. When those mitochondria are healthy, your adrenals don't need to overwork. That means less cortisol, more stable energy, and a more youthful hormonal profile. When you don't get enough deep sleep, it's not just cortisol that gets affected. Your insulin, ghrelin, and leptin levels also go out of balance. That's why poor sleep makes you crave sugar, carbs, and caffeine the next day. Your body's trying to find quick energy to make up for what it didn't restore overnight. But that only pushes cortisol higher, creating a vicious cycle. The better you sleep, the fewer cravings you have, the more stable your blood sugar stays, and the calmer your adrenal response becomes. It's all connected. Another powerful way quality sleep strengthens adrenal resilience is through the nervous system reset that happens at night. During deep sleep, your parasympathetic nervous system takes over. That's your rest and digest mode. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your brain waves enter a state that promotes tissue repair and hormone balance. When this happens consistently, your body learns to spend more time in the parasympathetic state even during the day. That means you're less reactive to stress, you recover faster from emotional triggers, and you naturally produce less cortisol overall. It's like training your nervous system to stay cool under pressure. Here's something interesting. Studies show that just one night of poor sleep can raise cortisol by 30 to 40% the next day, and that elevated cortisol lingers into the afternoon, making you feel restless, anxious, and hungrier than usual. But when you get consistent, deep sleep for several nights in a row, cortisol levels normalize dramatically. The adrenals literally reset their sensitivity to ACTH, the hormone from your pituitary gland that tells them how much cortisol to make. When that signaling is balanced, your body doesn't overproduce stress hormones for small things anymore. That's how deep rest translates into deep resilience. And this is why people who fix their sleep often notice their entire body composition changing. Lower baseline cortisol means less fat storage around the belly, better insulin sensitivity, and higher levels of growth hormone and testosterone. Those two hormones are crucial for muscle repair, motivation, and vitality. When cortisol is too high, it suppresses both of them. When cortisol drops because your sleep improves, those hormones rise naturally. That's why you start waking up looking and feeling different, less bloated, leaner, stronger, and calmer all at once. Quality sleep also helps regulate the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short. That's the feedback loop between your brain and your adrenals that controls how much cortisol gets released throughout the day. Chronic stress and sleep deprivation break this communication loop, causing your body to produce cortisol even when it's not needed. But deep, consistent sleep repairs that feedback loop. Your brain starts responding properly again. It tells the adrenals to turn cortisol off when the threat is over. That's the biological foundation of resilience. It's fascinating how many people chase energy through stimulants, supplements, or constant motivation, but the real secret lies in sleep quality. When your adrenal glands are balanced, your energy feels effortless. You wake up before your alarm, your mood is lighter, your thoughts are clearer, and you don't need to push yourself to get things done. That's your natural circadian rhythm finally working for you instead of against you. Now, one of the best ways to ensure your sleep is restorative enough to build adrenal strength is to pay attention to your sleep stages. You want enough deep sleep and enough REM sleep. Deep sleep repairs the body, REM repairs the mind. When both are balanced, cortisol rhythm follows. You can actually track this using sleep data from a wearable if you want, but the simplest way to tell is how you feel in the morning. If you wake up feeling heavy, foggy, or irritated, your cortisol was probably too high during the night. If you wake up calm and focused, that's a sign your adrenals are recovering properly. There's also a nutrient side to adrenal recovery through sleep. Your body uses vitamins like B5, B6, and C to produce cortisol, but when you're under chronic stress, those nutrients get depleted. Deep sleep helps restore them naturally because your digestion and absorption work better at night. When cortisol is low, that means the food you eat during the day actually gets used more efficiently when you're sleeping well. That's why even your nutrition improves when your sleep improves. It's all tied to cortisol balance. You might have noticed that after a week of poor sleep, everything feels harder. Your workouts, your focus, even your emotions. That's adrenal fatigue creeping in. But give yourself 3 or 4 nights of deep, consistent rest, and suddenly everything feels lighter again. That's the adrenal system catching its breath. And once you maintain that rhythm, your baseline cortisol, the amount your body produces just to keep you functioning, starts to lower. That's when stress stops feeling overwhelming. You still experience challenges, but your body doesn't overreact to them. You stay centered. Now, here's something most people overlook. Your emotional state during the day directly affects how restorative your sleep is at night. If you carry tension, resentment, or worry into bed, your cortisol stays elevated. That means even if you're in bed for 8 hours, you're not truly recovering. That's why practices like gratitude journaling or light meditation before sleep can amplify the impact of your honey and salt trick. They clear mental stress, allowing your nervous system to fully drop into that deep, parasympathetic state where healing happens. That's where your adrenals recharge most efficiently. When you start experiencing deep sleep regularly, you'll also notice changes in how your body reacts to caffeine. You might not even crave it anymore because your natural cortisol peak in the morning feels strong. You wake up energized without needing a stimulant. That's a direct sign that your adrenal resilience is improving. Your cortisol melatonin rhythm is balanced, so your energy rises and falls exactly when it should. That's how your body was designed to operate before modern life started hijacking it. You might wonder, how long does it take to rebuild adrenal resilience through better sleep? For most people, noticeable changes start within 2 weeks. You start falling asleep faster, waking up fewer times, and feeling calmer throughout the day. But full adrenal recalibration can take several months of consistent quality sleep. The good news is it compounds. Every night of good sleep strengthens the foundation a little more, making it easier to stay balanced, even when stress hits hard. And here's a little secret. Naps can help too, but only short ones. A 20 30-minute nap during the day can lower cortisol and refresh the nervous system without interfering with nighttime sleep. Just avoid long naps that dip into REM because that can confuse your circadian rhythm. If you time your naps right, say early afternoon when cortisol naturally dips, it supports your adrenal health even more. One of the most beautiful things about building adrenal resilience through sleep is that it spills over into every other area of your life. Your relationships improve because you're calmer and more patient. Your digestion improves because cortisol no longer interferes with stomach acid production. Your immune system strengthens because your body is no longer in fight or flight mode all the time. And perhaps most importantly, your sense of well-being returns. You start feeling grounded, content, and more in tune with your body. The truth is, quality sleep is the master reset switch for your hormones. You can eat perfectly, exercise smart, and take all the right supplements, but if your sleep is poor, your cortisol stays high, your adrenals stay tired, and progress feels uphill. But once you fix sleep, really fix it, everything else falls into place effortlessly. You start craving healthier foods, your workouts feel stronger, and your emotional balance returns. That's because your adrenal glands are finally operating in harmony with your brain and your body again. So when you think about that 1 tablespoon trick to lower cortisol fast, remember, it's not just about falling asleep. It's about giving your body the consistent deep rest it needs to rebuild resilience from the inside out. Each night of good sleep is like another layer of armor for your adrenal glands. Over time, stress stops controlling you. You start controlling how your body responds to it. And that's the real secret to long-term health, energy, and vitality.